This program explores unknown mysteries of the unknown. All theories, events, and individuals portrayed are presented for entertainment purposes only. This is not a news broadcast.
Good evening, and welcome to Unknown Mysteries of the Unknown. Tonight we examine one of the 20th century's most enigmatic and overlooked figures, a man whose radical ideas threatened to upend both science and history, yet who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only an impossible structure and a lost equation that may have changed everything. To some, he was an eccentric genius. To others, a harmless recluse. But to this day, none can fully explain the strange life and stranger disappearance of Dr. Emil Lümp. He was born into a prominent Palovian family who made their fortune on the remote tropical island of Meragi Atoll, harvesting the notoriously bland Meragi lump fruit, a heavy, beige, almost completely tasteless fruit valued mainly for its long shelf life and complete lack of extremes. While his family trained the native lump monkeys and exported the reliable but unremarkable crop, young Emil displayed an extraordinary but eccentric intellect.
I first became aware of Emil Lümp through some old academic correspondence from Mergestad. Even as a very young man, there was something unmistakable about him. The family was wealthy by atoll standards, successful lump fruit exporters, but Emil never seemed particularly interested in the business. He was elsewhere. What struck everyone who encountered him was the sheer intensity of that mind. He didn't just study, he absorbed.
In the fall of 1910, Lümp traveled to Mergestad, where he studied at the university. There, his mind was shaped by both the rigors of Palovian physics and the esoteric traditions of Mergestadi mysticism. It was here that Lümp first proposed his most provocative idea, that excessive heat was the hidden root cause of nearly all human conflict throughout history.
Moved between the physicists and the mystics as if the line between them was artificial. Most scholars pick a camp. Lümp appeared to be trying to reconcile both worlds at once. You could already see the seeds of something unusual in him, this growing conviction that the physical environment, particularly temperature, might be far more decisive in human affairs than anyone had previously dared to suggest. He was quiet, yes, but there was a kind of quiet fire there.
While other thinkers looked to economic or ideological causes, Lümp instead looked to the thermometer. He believed that nearly all of civilization's ills could be attributed to a simple lack of sufficient air conditioning. In that sense, many modern scholars and the North American HVAC Workers Union now regard him as something of a prophet.
Through meticulous cross-referencing of ancient texts, climate records, and patterns of social upheaval, Lümp argued that civilizations did not rise and fall because of ideology, economics, or religion, but because of temperature. When people became too hot, he claimed, passions flared, reason collapsed, impulse control evaporated, and societies tore themselves apart. This work revolutionized the fields of social anthropology and ancient history. It gave birth to what became known as the Theory of Thermoanthropology, the idea that all human cultures, beneath their surface differences, were fundamentally governed by the same temperate forces.
For a brief time, Lümp's scholarship was celebrated as visionary. Colleagues spoke of a new scientific paradigm. Some even whispered that he had discovered a unifying principle that could finally bridge science and mysticism, but the backlash was swift. Critics accused him of relying on his family's wealth and influence to gain academic prominence. Others dismissed his theories as being tainted by mysticism, and by the late 1910s, Lümp had become an outcast among his peers.
And yet, remarkably, even after his total discreditation, no one ever successfully challenged his theory. To this day, it remains one of the most provocative and influential ideas in the study of human behavior. In early 1919, having completed his academic studies, Dr. Lümp returned to Meragi Atoll, and instead of resuming life with his family, he disappeared into the dense jungle. Over the following years, occasional visitors to his remote compound began reporting something astonishing. a massive, elaborate treehouse mansion suspended high in the rainforest canopy, so far above the forest floor that large sections of it could not even be seen from the ground. The structure was built entirely of enormous quantities of rope and an unknown lightweight stone. No records exist of how the materials were transported to such heights, or where the vast amounts of rope came from. Skeptics still suggest he may have used the native monkey population in ways never fully explained. And remarkably, that treehouse still stands on Maragi Atoll to this day.
Hey, look, I've seen a lot of weird buildings in my day, all right? But let me tell you, nothing, and I mean nothing, like this Lümp treehouse. We're talking over 100 feet up in the canopy, built almost entirely out of rope and this weird lightweight stone nobody can even identify. No roads, no cranes, no heavy equipment, nada. Now, the stress ratios alone, forget about it. The load distribution, the way it's anchored up there, none of it should work. Technically speaking, the whole thing should have come crashing down decades ago. But guess what? It's still standing there, rock solid after nearly a century. I'm telling you, it don't make no sense.
Even more baffling, no matter how sweltering the tropical heat outside, the interior remained at a perfectly comfortable temperature at all times. Dr. Lümp had invented a mysterious form of air conditioning that defied conventional science.
I was one of the few outsiders allowed inside the treehouse in the 1930s. The temperature inside was a constant 72 degrees Fahrenheit, perfect comfort, while it was 95 degrees and humid outside. There were no visible compressors, no generators, no conventional cooling system we could identify. Lümp just smiled and said it was the natural state of balance. I'll admit, it was eerie how calm you felt in there. Almost unnaturally so.
But it was his final claim that made him infamous and would have changed everything. In the mid-1930s, while living as a recluse in his impossible treehouse high above the jungle canopy, Dr. Emil Lümp announced what he believed was the culmination of his life's work, the anti-science equation. Not simply a new theory, but the literal end of all knowledge. On the eve of publication of what would have been the culmination of Lümp's life and career, in 1936, the Science Institute in Polovia burned to the ground, along with every known copy of the equation. Dr. Lümp returned to the jungles of Maragi Atoll and was never seen or heard from again.
According to the very few individuals allowed to see even fragments of his papers, the anti-science equation proved beyond any doubt that the entire foundation of modern science, every law of physics, every mathematical principle, the scientific method itself, was fundamentally, catastrophically wrong. It showed that centuries of empirical observation had been distorted by thermal imbalance. The equation, Lümp said, would render all previous human knowledge obsolete, and yet he promised it would also deliver something far greater: unlimited energy, eternal peace, perfect prosperity, and complete human happiness, all achieved through a reliable form of air conditioning.
Who was Emil Lümp? Misunderstood genius? Visionary? Crackpot? Did his anti-science equation really exist? Was the Institute in Polovia a victim of political unrest or a cover-up? What secret powered the treehouse's impossible cooling? And are we all just one heat wave away from proving him right? The mystery continues.